So we want to ignore market predictions and forecasts from the guru. This is going to be the street smart section: experience, wisdom, and behavior. Here's Yogi Bear on predictions. It's tough to make predictions, especially about the future. So whenever you hear one of these prognosticators come on TV, it should send out big red flag warnings to you guys that he has no idea what's going to happen. I can see the future. You'll see guys like this every single day on TV. This guy has a lot of book smarts, and his book smarts told him that there's a recession coming in 2016 and 2017.
Well, going back to 1964, every period where credit growth was in decline, you ended up going towards recession. And there are some thresholds. Specifically, if credit is not growing above a 2% net of inflation number, you're going to find yourself in recession. Again, it's a pretty consistent trend, and you don't have it in government spending, you don't have it in corporate spending, you don't have it in areas where you normally see credit growth. It's just insufficient. So the odds are that we are going to be in recession 2016, and maybe even stretching into 2017.
Sounds rational, sounds reasonable. We're going through a downturn at that time, so you believe him, you get out of the market, and you miss the recovery. All because he has all these book smarts, but his street smarts didn't tell him that besides the little few variables that he spouted, that there's literally trillions of other variables. Here's why forecasting is for dummies.
The fifth commandment of investor behavior is that forecasting is for weathermen. JP Morgan was famously asked what he thought the market would do in the future, and he simply said, "It will fluctuate." And he was right. Philip Tetlock of UCLA is the foremost expert in analyzing forecasts and found two things: that the more dramatic the past forecast, the more error-filled future forecasts were likely to be, and also found that the more famous the expert, the worse their forecast turned out to be. David Dreeman, the famous contrarian, looked at 78,000 data points and found that only one time in 170 are market analysts even within 5% of the correct answer. And yet we find that when average people listen to expert forecasts, it actually puts to sleep the part of their brain involved in critical thinking. Trust me, I'm a doctor.
So they analyzed a bunch of forecasts, and they found that only one time in 170 are they within 5% of their forecasts. It's miserable. You know, just like predicting the weather. You know, we can't even do it 5-7 days in advance sometimes. There's infinite possibilities. If you're street smart, you know that. 2018 was no different. Every year we have this class, we show you all the tremendous variables. These are just a few from last year. Nobody knew that was coming. Here's the thing that you have to understand with all the variables that can go on. We have these rational movers. We have these statistics, facts, data, information, financials, news. Theoretically, we know what's happening. If we turn on the news, we watch it, we can know what's happening right now, right? But it changes instantly, second by second, minute by minute. There's new news, new information, new facts, new data, all changing rapidly. And that's stuff that we potentially know. This stuff goes into market prices. It's totally unknowable. There's no way that you can forecast this stuff into market prices. People's instincts, their feelings, their dreams, their visions, their preferences. Maybe where millions and millions of people decided where to eat lunch for today, or where they decided to go on vacation, or what type of refrigerators they decided to buy. All kinds of just simple things going on in people's lives that affect market prices. Their perceptions, their plans, all the fraud that goes on in the financial industry. You can't forecast that, and there's billions and billions of dollars in fraud that we show you in our duped classes. Weather and natural disasters, can't predict that, and that affects market prices. Wars. Look at what these handful of terrorists, a few dozen terrorists, did when they took down the World Trade Center. Changed our world forever in ways that we could not imagine the day before. Financial and currency crisis, man-made decisions, political decisions. There's political decisions going on all around the world that will affect future market prices. You can't predict that stuff. And then all these awesome things that we discussed in our last class, technology discoveries, medical discoveries, mutating technology. Guys like Bill Gates coming up with this thing called Windows. Changed our lives forever. Steve Jobs coming up with the iPhone. There's still things the iPhones and the smartphones are doing that they couldn't even imagine 10 years ago. All those great things. It's called the butterfly effect. All these small changes dramatically affecting the world that can't be predicted. Edward Lorenz was the guy that coined the butterfly effect, and he essentially said that if you flap your butterfly flaps his wings in South America, it can cause a hurricane in North America. So people started quoting him on it, and he says, no, that's a metaphor. That's, but it's a metaphor for the weather. But it's true. Small changes can have dramatic effects. So here's an example of the butterfly effect. It's a pretty clever commercial. But here's the scam for all these forecasters. Make enough predictions, some will come true. All of us in this room, we could start a forecasting business, and we can go out on the TV and and go out and make all our forecasts and predictions, and we will get some predictions right. And what we'll do is we'll go out and we'll promote the ones that we got right, and that's what these guys do. Here's my prediction with 100% certainty, and it's nothing profound, and you've heard me say it already in this class. Things will change for reasons unknown to us at the present time, and performance will be different every year. So we need to ignore market predictions and forecasts from the gurus and the economists and the financial media and the newsletter writers, and especially the fearmongers. And we dedicate a whole nother class to covering all these guys in details. And if you still believe that these guys can forecast and predict, come to that class, and you will not believe after we're done with that class.